Well, I'm sure everybody has heard and probably discussed quite thoroughly that what's happened in Syria over the last couple of days. Basically, we've gone from one terrorist dictator to probably another. As I stated in my last video, that the new head of Syria is basically a terrorist with a U.S. $10 million bounty on his head. But he's indicated that he will work with the West and would like to work with the West, and that Israel is not an enemy of his at this point in time, but he has been caught on camera saying that Damascus is only the beginning and that Jerusalem is their next stop. And because of that, and because of the unknown, of course, Israel has been bombing various sites in Syria, mainly military posts and ammunition and naval ships and things of that nature, in order to make sure that whatever Assad has left behind does not fall into the wrong hands. And according to Netanyahu, he feels pretty confident that most of what Assad had has now been destroyed. The only thing that they're really still worried about is the chemical weapons that could possibly still be out there. But for the most part, all of the weapons have been destroyed, and it's as if the Syrian government never existed. I will say this one thing about the new leadership, and that is, I would be shocked if, in fact, they allowed Hezbollah, to receive weapons and other military weaponry through Syria, because basically the Hezbollah is who they've been fighting for the last 10, 15 years. And Iran is no friend of theirs either. So even they are Muslims, and the leader has indicated that Sharia law would be the law of the land. They are not friends of Hamas or Hezbollah or Iran. So it's going to be interesting to see if, in fact, how Hezbollah does get rearmed, if, in fact, Israel allows that to happen. And don't forget, Israel has also been moving into Syria as well. There's a buffer zone that now they've crossed the lines, and they're making a bigger buffer zone over what used to be a buffer zone. And so Israel's taking full advantage of this exchange in command. Many analysts say that this change of military and leadership in Syria is a good thing for Israel, but we'll have to wait and see. Of course, the Bible would probably say that's not true. In fact, we still have Ezekiel 38 and 39, the war of Gog and Magog, still to play out. So somehow, some way, Iran, Turkey, and Russia will still figure out a way to also get in position in order to fight Israel. It's hard to say when that will take place. A lot of people think it's going to take place before the tribulation period begins, and maybe even before the rapture takes place. And of course, if you listen to some commentary, prophecy commentary, many are trying to say that Isaiah 17:1 has taken place. And the bottom line is this right here, is that Damascus is still a city. And I'm beginning to question that as well anyway, whether or not that prophecy is actually made for this time, the end times. And a lot of you are going to be upset over the fact that I've said that. But the bottom line is that I don't mind changing my mind, or at least considering an analysis of this scripture if it makes sense. And I just heard one from author and prophecy expert Mark Hitchcock, where he indicated that most people who do adhere to Isaiah 17:1 being a yet future prophecy that will take place in the near future, he challenged his audience to not just stop at verses 1 and 2 of Isaiah 17, but also to read on in the verses that follow. And in the verses that follow, it indicated that it also said that when this destruction of Damascus does take place, that northern Israel will also be destroyed. And it didn't make much sense in the way he presented it. It didn't seem too likely that it would take place in the near future, but was more likely that it took place back somewhere around 800 BC. And I'm not going to go into the complete analysis of what he said, but it did make a whole lot of sense to me, and did make me feel that it's possible that he could be right. And if you want to listen to the article, you can look it up on YouTube. It's entitled, I believe, Mark Hitchcock, Serious Sudden Collapse. So what he does say does make a lot of sense to me, and I would encourage you to be of that type of Berean Bible prophecy watcher in which you are willing to change your mind if something does go against what you have always believed, such as the Psalm 83 war. A lot of people believe that that war took place many years ago or could have taken place in 1967 or 1973, or a combination of the two. But whatever you embrace, you need to embrace it if in fact it is true, and don't be so hard-headed that you will not embrace other things if in fact it is biblically proven to be true. So I believe that there's a possibility, even though I've always embraced the Isaiah 17:1 belief that Syria, or should I say Damascus, would be destroyed completely and never be inhabited or never be a city again. But you have to read that entire scripture within context, and I don't think a lot of people do that. And again, as I said, you can't be afraid to be wrong. But I would encourage you to go and to listen to the video, because I think you'll learn a lot, and it might open your eyes to something that you didn't see before today. Now, the thing I really wanted to bring out is this right here. First of all, President Trump has put a lot of fear into the Middle East right now. Of course, he said that the hostages better be released before he takes office, or they'd be hell to pay, and I truly believe that hell will be paid. I don't think that there is any doubt in our mind that President Trump means what he says and says what he means. And at the same time, he's also stated that he has not taken off the table and is considering it very much so that when he comes into office, he may take out Iran's nuclear facilities as well. Or he may allow Israel to do that. And right now, Israel is pivoting and jockeying for a possible run at Iran's nuclear facilities again. Iran has gone from a very strong position in the Middle East to a very weak position with the loss of Syria and also the extreme weakening of Hezbollah. And with this being done, there's never been a better time for a peace process to take place. In fact, right now, Trump's Middle East envoy is in Saudi Arabia right now, working on a deal that very well could take place by day one of President Trump's term. And right now, it's just Saudi Arabia and Israel normalizing, but it could go further than that, and there could be a lot of other things that might also stretch out under this umbrella as well. So this major peace deal that we're talking about that's going on behind closed doors could turn out to be a colossal Middle East peace agreement that could also include places like Russia and Ukraine and possibly even the Houthis. And it might also embrace also Hamas and Hezbollah, who have been severely weakened, and they may have absolutely no other choice but to come in under this particular peace plan. And it'll be interesting to see if in this peace accord that the temple is rebuilt, and if a Palestinian state is in some way created. And I'll also be looking at the possibility of a length of time that may also stretch out from this peace accord. As we know, the Bible indicates that there would be a 7-year peace accord, that at the midway point that the Antichrist would break it and go into the temple and desecrate the temple. I also believe at this time that he'll declare himself to be God, the Messiah, and at some point in time he will either be killed or assassinated or whatever the case may be, but will rise again. And that's not to mention the fact that there's going to be 2 witnesses that are going to be on the earth that are going to be supernatural. That's not to say that during the first half of the tribulation period that there will be angels flying through the air witnessing to those who will listen in their own language, and that many miraculous things will be taking place during the tribulation period. But we as Christians have something to look forward to beyond that, and that is the rapture of the church. There's no reason for us to be here, and when we go, it will leave only those who do not love the Lord left behind to accept him one last time or to reject him and then worship the Antichrist. You know, when you're left behind, you will worship a God one way or the other. It will either be Jesus Christ or it will be the Antichrist. So that is the position that you have to look forward to if you don't know the Lord. And I hope, in fact, today that you will come to the Lord, ask him to save you. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. And at the same time, I would encourage you as a Christian to get my Tribulation Period Survival Guide. Get it in the hands of your friends and loved ones who you know that looks like they're going to be left behind. They're going to need some type of instruction in order to know the Lord, and also to get past what the next 7 years will throw at them. And I think there's no other book better other than the Bible itself than this book, and they're going to need it. And I hope that you will go down to the description section of this video and click on the link and get as many copies as you can. Well, this is Terry Malone with the Calvary Prophecy Report.